Torah Or Miketz, Lamed Aleph, second column. Okay, so he says now like this. Okay, so if you had the yayin, regular yayin, mesamach is the gift from above, that doesn't always work. So then you got to get drunk. Drunk means get out of your own existence. A little bittul over here and there. As he says, another thing you have to realize. And these two wines, yayin and mesamach and yayin and meshaker. What the Gemara says on the Medrash says on the pasuk, Hashem saw the light was good. The pasuk doesn't say good for what. Hashem saw it was good, but he didn't say for what it was good. So the Medrash says, it was good to hide for the tzaddikim l'asud loving. Okay? What does that mean? Hashem hid the light of the world of creation. He hid it for lots of loving. In Commercial Cause, the pasuk says, "Bikashti yeshoav nafshi," I seeked out what I desire. I mean, what I love. Achast, if I grabbed it, I'm not going to let go. Until I bring it. Obeis imi to my mother's home. Into the room of my parents. That's what Shlomo Melech says. But what does the pasuk mean? So it sounds like this. Beis imi is Torah Shebiksav. My mother's house, Torah Shebiksav. Cheder Erasi is Torah Shebal Peh. Okay? What are they? Kelim lahachnis b'seichem. The kelim to bring within them. Gili alukosi is baruch in the level of kais pari. He said before, the whole thing is to squeeze the grapes. Al kais pari. Pari, he says in Ruchnius, is the super high levels. All the lights are open. Pari comes from the priya. You rip up the foreskin, by the thinner foreskin. So pari represents the greatest giluyim of kedusha. When it comes all the way down here, it falls down very, very low. So he says, what does it mean? You have to bring it into kais pare. It has to come into a kais. What is the level of kais? Like it says, kais is shua sasa. Then, miskayim ayayim b'seichet. Then, if you want to keep wine in a keli, the keli cannot be broken. It has to be complete. Mashenke bebitol akelim. If you nullify if the kelim break, then mistalik or kaneda, then you don't have any or either. What happened by shir sekel meter? The kelim broke, so what happened to the or? It left. So he said, so that's one thing you have to keep in mind. That all this bittul and all this yayin and mesamach and meshaker, all that stuff needs a keli. What is the keli? Because if you love it and you don't make a keli, the pasuk says, I loved it, I'm looking for it, I finally got it, but I had to bring it to my mother's house and my parents' room. I mean, you need a keli to keep it. If not, like a spark, a lighter. You can start a spark, but if you don't have a keli, there's no fuel, it's not going to last. Here's another thing that he should keep in mind about Ma'asav Shleiyah B'Shul Atzmi. He shouldn't do any of these things for his own ego, for his own self. To make a dwelling place only for Hashem. To be the keli for Hashem's dwelling. To have this dira b'tachteinim, what it means? What does it mean? Based on that pasuk, he should prepare the keli into Torah Shebiksav and Torah Shebal Peh, the letters of Torah. She had kelim la'odi is baruch, that they should be the kelim to this gilui. The whole inyan of yayin, he's explaining, is to make a keli for elokus, either the yayin and the samach, which is a gift from above, but you need a keli. You don't have a keli, it's not going to last. Or if you're doing yayin and meshak at the level of bittul, that you want to bring elokus down, again, you need a keli. If there's no keli, it's not going to last. And that's the level of Yosef. What does Yosef mean? To add. Perish Yosef tainug v'nachas ruach lefanav yizborech. To add pleasure, and nachas ruach means a good spirit to Hashem. Like the Tzemach Tzedek says in the pasuk, why was he called Yosef? Rachel called him Yosef Hashem li bein acher. Simply means that she said Hashem should give me another son, then she'll be at least like Bilhah and Zilpah. But Tzemach Tzedek says, what is the level of Yosef? Yosef Hashem li, Hashem should give me the additional ability to make an acher into a ben. A foreigner, an acher, klipa acher, into a ben. So the avodah of Yosef is to bring tainug, like he's saying here, to add tainug, hisafa, to add tainug into elukus, trying to stay down here. So if you don't make a keli, so then the spark comes, but it leaves right away. And there's the Amar HaKos, that's what the pasuk says. And then it says, Vayi Miketz. So the last week's parsha ends, the butler not only did he not remember him, he intentionally forgot about him. Right? That's how bad he was. And then right away it says, Vayi Miketz. What's the connection? By not remembering the concept of Leizachar Yosef. Right? He didn't remember the Hisafa. The addition in making Tainugim, Nisava Yedeza. What happens through this? Miketz Lashon Seifet Tichla. Lebechina Shnasayim Yamen Sheyichla Chas V'Shalim Etzlei. Will be destroyed by him. The level of Torah, which is Shnasayim Yain, which is the level of the 2 years. Well, like it says, Eish Hashim Yom Yom Alpayim Shadim Akadma Torah Elam. So like this. Miketz Shnasayim Yamim is at the end of 2 years. Yosef stayed in jail 2 years longer because he put his trust in the butler instead of just in Hashem. So it says, so what happens, Leizachar is Yosef. What happens, you don't remember to do more in Yiddishkeit. So then it becomes a case, it becomes an end of Shinasayim 2 represents Torah. Because it says, Alpayim Shadma Kadma Torah Leilam, the Torah is 2,000 years before the world. One Chachma Bina, Tershah B'Ksav, Tershah B'Alpeh, like we learned already. So what happens if Leizachar is Yosef? What happens when a Jew doesn't remember to add more, to make a bigger keli for Elokus? Then it'd be Miketz Shnasayim Yamim. So then you have the end of Torah. You don't have a keli anymore. By the way, it says, the Mefarshim bring down the word Miketz, the word Shabbos Chanukah. So Shnasayim stands for Smel, Ner, Tadlik, Yemin, Mezuzah. Matamesha brings down. Smel, Ner, Tadlik, Yemin, Mezuzah. That's Shnasayim, which is the connection to Chanukah. So it says, V'hainu, K'mesher Kos, B'tikunim, like it said, B'tikunim Yisrael, we say in Pasuk Liyo, Chakim v'lei b'chachma yediyah, Meiv v'lei b'bina yediyah. Chachma is Tershah B'Ksav, B'chin is Bina Tershah B'Alpeh. The other Maimon will learn the opposite, but sometimes it says Chachma is Tershah B'Ksav and Bina is Tershah B'Alpeh, sometimes it says the opposite. Ki machma shekavanasi b'shmul atzmei. So what's the issue? Because his whole kavana is only for himself, not for Elokus, just for his own ego. He's not interested in hiding the art in a keli. He's only interested in showing it off in davening. In other words, you need to make a keli. He said before that keli is a level of bittul, right? So you need to make this keli. So what happens? Pharaoh starts having dreams. What is dreams? Gemara says, yesterday's Rambam in the Gemara, there's a guy has a dream that he had a box of grain somewhere, and this was Meiser, and that was Truma, and this was that. And he wakes up in the morning, and Itaka goes exactly and finds exactly like he found in the dream. Meiser bolefnei chachamim, And the Gemara said, Divrei chalemis leimailin v'leimardin. They will be worthless. They don't mean a thing. When you have a dream, it doesn't mean anything. So what happens? When you have Leizach, Sarah Mashkemes Yosef, and then that comes to Mikation and say you make an end of Torah, then Parei Chaylim, then you can have stupid dreams. About fat cows, skinny cows, and all that.
We have a tefillah for Pharaoh. Pharaoh is when you there, right?
No.
It's nothing, why do we have?
It only means, it's only something better if it bothers you. This whole concept of what's called a Tavas Chaleim, making a Chaleim, making the Chaleim good. Yeah? It says in Svarim clear, it's only if it bothers, if you ignore the dream, it doesn't mean anything.
It could be a good dream.
Yeah, so.
So there is a reason why in the Sidu there is.
And then there's another Gemara that says, Ein Chaleim b'lei dvarim b'teilim. Every dream has a little bit of truth. So therefore, as Ba'afil or B'chinas is Galus B'chinas Seyayin and now Sheyesh Lai, even this little bit of wine that he has, Eina Mamitim. It's not even real, it's a dream. Chedemyin V'chalem Shegeirim is Talkas or earth, it causes the earth to leave. L'chein Neifel B'chinas Midas. Therefore, instead of Seichel, the Keli Felukus is Chachma Binas Teira. But if you don't have a Keli, then you fall into Midas. Sham Midas and Negashes Benafshe. So he's explaining now, if you don't have Torah, yeah, so then you have Chalemis, and then you come into the 7 cows represent the 7 Midas. So instead of having the Keli of Seichel, you forgot the ear of Keli of Torah, the level of Bittul. So then you have Sheva Podas HaTeiris, a good cows, and then Sheva Podas HaChalno, meaning that even the good meat just get erased. Because the skinny cows ate up the fat cows. As if you didn't daven at all. That's what happens when if you don't remember to make a keli, there's no bittul, so that's what happens. But the level of Yosef that adds tainug, then ein amidas nigashes benafshe klal. Then you don't feel the midas at all you feel is Torah, which is bittul. Neisen Torah. Then you don't have Sheva Paras HaTeivis. And definitely, ein ara yed mumayla rak teiv ganas b'tzeichim. It's only a level of good. That's what it says. What is the level of teiv? When a person makes the or agonus, he hides the Torah, meaning he makes a proper keli for the level of Kedusha. If not, he goes into Chalemis and eventually he comes into total evil.
There is no neutral.
There's no neutral. There is no neutral. Okay, we finish this Maimer. I know, we always learn Chanukah. So now we'll start, today's Friday, next week we'll learn Vayigash. So, Vayigash doesn't have too many Maimorim, only 2 Maimorim here, but I think both of them we learned. Yep, learned both. Okay, so let's start now Vayigash. We'll learn both Maimorim hopefully this week. Okay, in Vayigash, Torah Or 86, Vayigash. Vayigash Elav Yehuda Vayemer Bi'adaini. Okay, so Yehuda came over to Yosef and said, after they caught Binyamin, he said, please, my master, so on and so forth. So it says, in Iksiv, the Pasuk says, Kedas Beiteinu, Bateinu Arazim. The walls of the beams of our house, the Beis HaMikdash, is Arazim, Eres, cedar tree. It says, Yesh Leimar, a Hefer, Bein Mishkan, the Beis Elamim. Okay, let me just, because there's the Beis HaMikdash and there's the Mishkan. Okay? Primarily it's Yehuda and Yosef. the Mishkan was in Shilei, which is by Yosef. Beis HaMikdash is in the Chelik of Yehuda and Binyamin. So that represents the level of Yehuda. There's a whole Vayigash El of Yehuda coming close to Yosef. In the Haftarah of Vayigash, it speaks about Yosef coming to Yehuda. So there's a whole thing over here between Yosef and Yehuda is the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash. Okay? So he says, what was the difference? I mean, a lot of difference, but one of the primary differences between the Mishkan and Beis HaMikdash, Mishkan hoya miyadazim. The Mishkan was built atzi shitim, which is eres tree, acacia wood, cedar tree, whatever. Like it says, atzi shitim aimdim. V'amichs, and the covering over the Mishkan was yiriyas izim v'eres elim v'eres tchoshim. So the wall of the Mishkan was wood, which is plant life. On top of that were the goat skins. That was the covering of the Mishkan, which is animal. Okay? So you had the floor of the Mishkan was earth, daimim. The walls of the Mishkan were tzemeach. And then the covering of the Mishkan was chai. And then you had the person in the Mishkan. So it went a normal seder. Daimim, tzemeach, chai. Right? That's the way it went. But Beis HaMikdash hoya mi'avanim v'offer dafka, but the Beis HaMikdash was made dafka from stones and offered. Sha'as alas is be'etz be'elvach. He says it was forbidden to make any wood, and he says or sadr shalates or any porches of wood like Ram writes in it. Okay, the only thing was their klunas shall eres betirkas ulam, and the roof of the ulam there was a little bit of wood, but generally speaking in the Beis HaMikdash was not allowed to be made wood, only inanimate, mamish avonim and offered. The tzarich love we need to understand by Mishkan the wood was the primary part of the walls, the whole thing was the wood. And the dirt, the inanimate, was at the bottom of the Mishkan. And in the Beis HaMikdash, the whole thing was avonim and offer. Even the Gag man, so the Alter Rebbe is asking a very simple question. If the Beis HaMikdash was holier than the Mishkan, because the Mishkan was holy, but the place of the Mishkan never made the place it was on holy. It was only holy when it was there. Then the Mishkan left, that place wasn't holy anymore. Even for that matter, Har Sinai. And this is a wondrous thing. The second the Shechina left Har Sinai, so the second the Shechina left Har Sinai is not at all Kaddish anymore. The greatest Gilui that ever existed of Elokus was Matan Torah, until Mashiach, was Matan Torah. Yeah, that, the second the Shechina left, it was like a regular mountain. The Mishkan, the second it left the place it was on, the regular place. The Beis HaMikdash, the Mokim is Kaddish. So the Beis HaMikdash is holier than the Mishkan, and yet it was made from inanimate.
Wasn't the whole purpose of Matan Torah was to infuse a spirituality?
Yeah, you're just making the question stronger. If it was to infuse Gashmis, and yet it didn't make the Gashmis holy. What?
The Mishkan was temporary, constantly?
Well, in the Midbar it traveled, then it went to a few places, then it ended up in Shilei for 369 years, whatever. But generally the Mishkan was traveling. It was the same Mishkan Moshe Rabbeinu built. Then when he built the Beis HaMikdash, they buried the Mishkan. It was never destroyed. Because anything Moshe Rabbeinu made was never destroyed. So the Mishkan was buried somewhere, nobody knows where. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't go into Eretz Yisrael, because then he would have built the Beis HaMikdash, and then Hashem wouldn't have been able to destroy the Beis HaMikdash. You have to destroy the Jews. Like this, he destroyed the building instead of the Jews.